Hello, it's Friday. Welcome to Granada Reports.
Yeah, good evening. Here's what's coming up on tonight's programme.
If you can potentially register to be a stem cell donor, you might just save someone's life, and you never know, it might just be mine.
The moment of truth for Pete McCleave, the dad on a mission to China in search of the genetic twin who could give him a future.
7 years this has been a part of my life, and it would be unbelievable to get that phone call.
And we'll be talking to Pete about that incredible journey live in the studio very soon.
Also tonight, killed by cowardice, an inquest concludes former soldier Daniel Burke was shot dead by a so-called comrade while fighting in Ukraine.
First Warrington, next the world. We catch up with teenage darts sensation Luke Littler in his hometown before he heads south to the Ali Pali.
Move over Ebenezer. It's Evelina Scrooge. We meet the Bolton actress making history as Dickens' most famous misery goods.
And in the weather, the weekend stretches ahead. It doesn't take a lot to keep some of us happy, but have I got what it takes to put a smile on your face this weekend? All the details coming up.
Yes, all of that to come. But first, a red letter day for Pete McCleave, the man on a mission to Macau in China in search of a genetic twin.
That's because Pete from Cheshire has myeloma, a form of blood cancer. 7 years ago, he was given just 7 years to live.
As we've been reporting this week, a stem cell transplant is his only hope of living to see his two sons grow up. But his mixed Chinese, Portuguese, Irish and English heritage makes finding a stem cell match extremely difficult.
Well, tonight we see Pete addressing a 4-yearly gathering of Macanese expats known as the Encontro in the hope of persuading the 1,000+ delegates to become stem cell donors.
We'll be talking to Pete right here after the third and final special report from our correspondent Mel Barham and cameraman Michael Edward, who followed Pete's journey.
So much on the line. Right now I feel that whatever I do, whatever I'm preparing, isn't going to be enough.
There is a danger that he will beat himself up about. I didn't say that, I could have said this. He just wants to make the most of this opportunity.
It feels like I'm building up to something of great significance that could potentially not deliver what I was hoping it would. Got to make the message land, but I don't know what the message is anymore. I don't know.
He came to Macau to chase the odds of finding a life-saving donor. Tonight, the culmination of years of campaigning, Pete must go all in pursuit of the jackpot. He's got a slot to speak at the closing ceremony of the Encontro, a reunion where over 1,400 Macanese diaspora, all with a similar genetic makeup to Pete, have returned to Macau from all over the world. But in a city of customs and casinos, he could do with both faith and fortune to strike it lucky.
Nothing I do is going to be enough. A slideshow, a selection of photos. If there's only 1,500 people on the register in the region today, there is someone in Macau who's going to get diagnosed with a blood cancer. They're going to have the same conversation I had, where they're told stem cell technology could help you, but actually there's not enough people there to be your potential genetic twin. Am I going to let them down if I get this wrong? Possibly, because no one else is talking about it down here.
It's been a week of connecting with a part of his heritage that's been the obstacle to finding a stem cell donor match. Pete's grandmother was born here in Macau, the daughter of a Chinese native and a Portuguese merchant, and that mix of genetic makeup means finding a stem cell donor match has been difficult. Supporting him on this journey has been Pete's friend Yasser. He lost his daughter Margot to leukemia 10 years ago, and like Pete, has been campaigning for more diversity on the donor register.
During Margot's appeal, and while we were caring for her, I wrote a blog in the hope that she would one day read it. And I think for Pete, he's here, and I imagine, I've never spoken to Pete about this, but I imagine that he has a similar father-son thing going on with Max and Seb, and he's doing his best, and I'm sure they feel a similar way.
What I don't want to do is stand on stage and no one listens.
Yeah.
So
I'm willing to do the cheek squat as well.
And with every new sign-up comes the possibility of finding that all-elusive match. But the pressure is building.
I've got to make sure that every vowel and consonant counts, because there are people who's this is riding on. You know, there are patients there who this is riding on. There's family there. It's my own sense of making the best of the time that I have and doing it right.
Well, I'm so pleased I've come, and I'm sorry I'm leaving.
Yeah, so am I.
Just hours before the big speech, there's time for one last rehearsal.
Hoping he persuades people and finds his match.
And it's clear the magnitude of this day is dawning on Pete.
What Pete's achieved over the last 7 years is astonishing. I don't know of anyone else, anywhere in the world, with the possible exception of one of the founders of DKMS, that has signed up as many people to the stem cell registers as Pete. And just talking about this stuff may mean someone will sign up, and then guess what? They will be called to be a donor, and they could be saving someone's life. That's incredible.
And so, the moment he's waited 7 years for, the opportunity to speak en masse to the very people who may hold the key to his survival. This is it.
Good evening, everyone. I was given 7 years ago a diagnosis of blood cancer. If I could find myself a stem cell donor, then that 7-year prognosis could be beaten. And if I can find someone to donate me their stem cells, then I have every chance of beating the blood cancer that I've been diagnosed with. To take a picture of what's on that screen right now, if you can potentially register to be a stem cell donor, you might just save someone's life, and you never know, it might just be mine. I genuinely feel I couldn't have done any more. That's what the last 7 years has been all about. I now know I can say I did everything I possibly could.
Don't try, you don't know. So I really hope, really hope there is a match for Peter. He deserves it.
Don't make the test. You might save this man. And then I think that's a really powerful thing for a person to feel that you made a change in someone's life.
If I don't find my match, at least I know I've played the odds. It was never the most important thing. It's been a foil for a much broader conversation around health inequality.
And what would it mean to you to find your stem cell match?
It's a game changer. 7 years this has been a part of my life, and it would be unbelievable to get that phone call.
It's a search that's taken him 6,000 miles from home to the most populated region in the world. All he needs is that one perfect match.
Hope dies last. And you're searching for what will hopefully help. Not just Pete, but other people.
I can now look my sons in the eye and say, I did everything. It was all about buying time. Whatever happens, what more can you say?
And if you can save just one person's life from coming here this week, would that be a success for you?
100%. Absolutely.
It's been a journey of hope, reconnecting with the past in pursuit of a future. It's too early to know if Pete's found a match here, but whatever happens, he knows he's tried his best. Mel Barham, ITV News, Macau.
Well, that was 1 week ago, and we're pleased to say that Pete has joined us in the studio now. Pete, first time you've seen all of that, and I suppose it probably feels like a bit of a dream, doesn't it, actually, your whole trip? What was it like watching that then?
I mean, it happened. Sometimes, the last couple of days it's felt a little bit ethereal in that we were in Macau and talking to this aspiration I've had for so long and now we're back in the UK and back into family life and work, and it does feel a little bit ethereal, but to have that as a record, it's wonderful.
How do you think it went, and when will you find out whether you've got a match?
I think the whole trip was beyond my aspirations in terms of a success. The connections made, the conversations had. For me personally, it takes up to 6 weeks for people to register and go through the system, but it's also when my consultant decides to pull the trigger on looking. But right now, because the chemotherapy I'm taking is working and I'm feeling good, there isn't the pressure immediately. But the moment we need to look, the stem cell register will hopefully be a much more healthy place to check, not just for me, but for everybody who needs that stem cell donor match.
And have you got any idea how many people have signed up due to your trip over to Macau?
I'll know at the end of the month when we have the formal recognition through DKMS specifically. I won't have access to those overseas registers definitively, but anecdotally I can say that in the last couple of weeks, on average, we tend to get about 200 kits through the door per day, and it's been thousands of kits coming through, and I hope we've contributed to that.
I mean, that's a phenomenal response, isn't it?
It is, and it just goes to show that the impact that this opportunity that you have afforded to me by following the story and taking an interest in this, but more importantly, the people who are out there watching this right now, the generosity of every single viewer, every person who's sent me a message, everyone who's just taken the time to listen to what I've had to say and what my friends have had to say, and they've acted upon it. It's hugely humbling, and I'll forever be grateful for what you have done. But everybody out there watching, thank you. Don't underestimate the impact that your connection has had with me and my family.
You are so strong. You keep going through all of this. You've got your missions. You keep just continuing. How many donors now?
Well, we've registered over 130,000 people through the 10,000 donors campaign, and we know of 23 matches that have come through that.
It's incredible. I mean, you should be so proud of yourself, but I mean, how much of a driving force are your family, are your sons, are Max and Seb, Jen, your wife?
It's always been about them, and maybe I didn't appreciate it as much. I like the challenge, I like the projects, I like sticking my size 9s in and giving it a go. But it was always about them, and it was always about being able to look them in the eye, Max and Seb and Jen, and say, we did all we could, and we didn't leave any stone unturned. And I think with Macau specifically, when it became obvious at the very beginning 7 years ago that my heritage was going to play a part in this conversation, knowing that we went to Macau and we had these conversations, and so many people engaged. There were so many opportunities to follow up on, even after the 10 days that we were down there. I can do that, and I know, should that conversation happen, which unfortunately at some point it will, I can say hand on heart that we did everything we could do. Nothing was left out there. So that's important. That's important.
Well, Pete, thank you so much for coming in. We're all behind you. We've got everything crossed for you. We're all rooting for you, and we wish you the very best of luck.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate all the support you've given.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you. Well, next tonight, an inquest found a former paratrooper from Manchester who died in Ukraine was unlawfully killed by someone who claimed to be his friend.
Yeah, Daniel Burke travelled to the country to fight after the Russian invasion, but was shot dead away from the front line.
Well, a coroner said he died with bravery and valour, but was killed by cowardice and dishonour. Our correspondent Anna Yosef has been following the story.
Daniel Burke died from multiple gunshot wounds last year after he travelled to Ukraine to help fight against the Russian invasion. But he didn't die on the battlefield. His body was found nearly 30 miles away from the front line. He'd gone missing in August 2023. A suspect who's been named as Abdul Fita Noreen, also known as Jihadi Adam, led Ukrainian officials to his body the following month. He claimed he'd accidentally shot him during a training exercise. But at today's inquest, the coroner rejected those claims and concluded that based on all the evidence, this wasn't an accidental shooting, and that Daniel, who was unarmed and unable to defend himself, was unlawfully killed. The inquest heard how Noreen had been working with Daniel in Ukraine and that they were comrades. He's wanted by Ukrainian police after fleeing the war-torn country. They haven't been able to confirm a motive for the killing. The court was told how Daniel had set up an organisation called Dark Angels, made up of former military personnel who would go to the front line to help evacuate the injured. He'd previously travelled to Syria to fight against the so-called Islamic State after becoming deeply affected by the Manchester Arena bombing, in which 22 people were killed. Speaking after the inquest, Daniel's family said they hoped today would bring them one step closer to the truth.
Throughout his life, he has assisted those who needed it the most and defended what he believed in. And for this, we are very proud of the person that he became. Following the inquest today, we are still yearning for answers. As a family, we cannot do this alone. We are grateful for the support we have received so far, and we are hopeful that the Ukraine authorities will progress the investigation into Daniel's death, and we hope one day we'll be able to say that we have justice for Daniel.
Daniel's been described as a man who dedicated his life to helping those who had been wronged, a man who fought for freedom and stood for justice. His family and friends say they'll continue fighting for justice for him.
Anna Yosef reporting there. Other news now, and planned strikes by train managers on Avanti West Coast have been called off. Members of the Rail, Maritime and Transport Union were due to walk out on the 22nd, 23rd and 29th of December. They'll now vote on a revised offer aimed at resolving a row over rest day working.
An inspection into Greater Manchester Police has found it must do more to keep children safe from online exploitation. The review found the force is following good child protection practices, but on multiple occasions, officers failed to understand the harm suffered by young victims of online abuse. It recommends training more officers on how to record children's evidence to make sure risks are identified.
His Majesty's Inspectorate doesn't, give these judgments lightly, but what is being said today is that the arrangements are sound, and that is a major step for Greater Manchester. And I pay tribute to the survivors of abuse who came forward, had the courage to bring their stories to the media or gave their accounts to this review.
Right, let's take a look at the sport now. And there's an early Christmas present for Everton fans. Is that right, David?
That's right. There's a potential good news for them with their takeover that could go through, well, as early as next week after the Friedkin Group reportedly secured Premier League approval today. Well, it was back in September that the American group agreed a deal to buy Everton from their majority shareholder Farhad Moshiri. It's been a rocky few years under his leadership with financial problems, points deductions and relegation battles. Well, the club supporters will hope those worries can soon be put behind them. Well, Everton are away at Arsenal tomorrow in the Premier League, while leaders Liverpool host Fulham at Anfield. On Sunday, it's the small matter of the Manchester derby. Well, City will have the home advantage, but are in terrible form right now.
Never had, and this was my only option. Teams are struggling in the moment, so I hope in the future feel that real feeling of a derby. But I know that is really important for our fans.
The problem is the bad moment. It's not you. It's the situation, but not you. You are fine. We are fine. But we don't have results, and we have to, of course, do it. But even if it's not going to do good results, we have to keep walking. So that you have to do. It's the only chance.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
Now, this weekend is the start of the World Darts Championship. Can you believe it's a whole year since this young man shot to fame? Warrington's Luke Littler stunned the sporting world with his performances at London's Alexandra Palace, where he made it all the way to the final on his debut. So can the 17-year-old go one step further and win it? Mike Hall reports.
In his hometown of Warrington, it's time for Luke Littler to check out. One final fling of the arrows in his local before swapping the Northwest for North London and the World Championships at Ali Pali.
It feels weird going back. Obviously that's where it all started. Obviously it went very well for myself on debut. I was an unknown, but what I've done this year to get myself up to number 4 in the world. But I don't have any pressure on my shoulders right now. Maybe when it comes to the day of playing I might do. But I'm very excited to get back on stage.
It was this time last year when Littler became the most famous 16-year-old on the planet.
What a performance! And what a story!
Win after win took him all the way to the World Championship final, where the fairy tale ended against world number 1 Luke Humphries. Littler wasted no time in turning professional and has enjoyed an extraordinary year to date, with a string of tournament victories and pocketing £700,000 in prize money.
Luke the Nuke Littler!
It's made him a household name and the bookies' favourite to win the Worlds.
All the people that have requested to message me, follow me, I'd probably say David Beckham is probably the biggest. And I'd probably pinch me moment is going to Carrington, meeting the United squad.
Luke Littler could do this. He can now, bullseye, and there it is.
To win it, obviously I am thinking about it. Not only for myself, but I know all the fans will be thinking about it, but you've just got to take it one game at a time.
It's a similar mindset to his rugby league heroes, 2 of whom dropped in to help Luke launch the new Village Darts Social in Warrington.
I like playing darts myself. At training, I'm the one they're always trying to beat. So I rocked up today, very excited to play him. Got it about half an hour early, and I was hitting the hundreds, I was hitting the 20s consistently. Just playing, then I think I averaged about 23. So I've really let myself down today.
Yeah, it's fun, you know. It's fun. It's a good laugh. It's pretty embarrassing for yourself. Yeah. Not for him. He's pretty special, isn't he? And obviously, since he's come and broke out, you know, lads have really got behind him and tried supporting him. So yeah, no, it'd be good to get down to one, hopefully.
Their backing and that of the darting world hasn't gone unrecognised.
Thank you for the support all year round. It's been a good ride with Premier League, Grand Slam, World Series, and let's hope we can start 2025 off strong.
And that means only one thing: taking the sport's biggest prize.
And here comes Littler. Superb!
It's his only target. Mike Hall, ITV News, Warrington.
Yeah, good luck to Luke and all our darts players. You know, we have so many top names from our region, likes of Michael Smith, Nathan Aspinall, Stephen Bunting, and of course, Dave Chizzy Chisnall.
Yes.
Can't forget him.
Of
Come
course,
on, Chizzy. Come on.
We have the OG Dave Chisnall sport right here.
Do you know what I mean? He's good at sports, so can actually do it. I'm not, so talk about it. That's the difference.
There's only 2 Chizzy Chisnalls.
Come on, what would your nicknames be, though? Go on.
Oh gosh, go on, you go first.
Well, we were thinking maybe Bullseye Bonner.
Oh, yes.
That's good,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
it?
a good shout, that is.
Yeah.
That's
Wicked
good.
Waldo.
You've got futures in the sport, come on. Come on. Let's get on the hockey.
Just can't play, that's the problem.
Yeah, everyone runs for cover, don't they, when you're on the Thanks, Dave. Cheers.
Thanks. OK, well, next, some more famous names for you. What is the link between Alistair Sim, Patrick Stewart, Michael Caine and Jim Carrey?
They're all really good at playing darts? I don't know. No, I don't know. Go on.
Well, it turns out they've all played the part of Scrooge.
Ah, of course, that's right, because next we are meeting the woman who's putting on her most miserable expression for the role in a musical version of A Christmas Carol at the Lowry here in Salford.
Yes, Evelina Scrooge Scrooge is being played by Claire Moore from Bolton.
What would Dickens think? Our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore went to find out.
Claire, it's so lovely to see you here at Salford Museum. You're in keeping, aren't you, with your costume for Scrooge?
I didn't know this place existed, and I can't decide whether I'm in Harry Potter or Doctor Who, but it's absolutely brilliant.
For this version of A Christmas Carol, you're playing the first ever female Scrooge.
Yeah, I feel very privileged, actually. You know, to be playing Scrooge as a woman. We've discovered that history proves that there were female entrepreneurs and businesswomen in that time, although I doubt that they were quite like our Evelina Scrooge in terms of their behaviour. So it's wonderful to put a twist on the Dickens tale, and he wrote such strong female characters anyway. I hope he would approve.
Yeah, why not? There are some grumpy women out there as well as men, aren't
I
there?
don't know what you mean, Caroline. I mean, grumpy.
Will and Joe from Hope Mill Theatre. This is their first production at the Lowry, isn't it? Outside of Hope Mill.
Which is just as well, because we honestly would not fit in Hope Mill. Otherwise, we'd be performing sort of outside in the car park. The book is my favourite version. And of course, we've all grown up with The Muppets Christmas Carol.
I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast.
The founder of the feast, indeed. I was quite upset that I wasn't Miss Piggy in this version, but I'll keep working on that. I'm sure I might be able to just put one in during the run, you know. Cratchit! Or whatever. I did the film of the Alan Menken version. I played Mrs. Fezziwig in the film.
And you're actually a local girl from Bolton.
I am, and I went to the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester. My family is still up here. My son went to University of Manchester. The water is brilliant. The water quality. I'm going home going, we need a water softener because the water up north is so much better. Chatting to people, it's effortless and lovely, and I feel that I've been really welcomed back. It does feel like coming home. It's wonderful.
You're here over Christmas. Scare us into coming to watch this Christmas then.
I don't think I can. Come and see A Christmas Carol at the Lowry, or else. Bah humbug!
Well, I'm not going to argue with that. Be there, Claire.
Really scary when she's in character. We'll all be there, I think.
Time now for a quick look at the weather this weekend. Here's Emma.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there, very good evening to you, and I hope you've had a super day, and I hope you've managed to navigate Friday the 13th without too many issues. I don't worry about Friday the 13th. It's bad luck to be superstitious. So as we dive into the weekend, Saturday's a bit of a scream, more of a nightmare on Sunday. In actual fact, it's going to be quite cheery and chirpy, but chilly on Saturday. However, on Sunday, cloudier, windier and milder. So you can see we've still got the blue colours sitting over us at the moment. This cold front drops through tonight. We've also had a lot of gloom over us this week. The cold front sweeps all that away, so some clearance behind it. Then, when that warm front pushes southeastwards on Saturday night into Sunday, we get a switch in wind direction to more of a southwesterly, hence these amber and golden colours flooding in, and so temperatures leap up. It's going to feel a lot milder into the start of the new week. Rewinding though to the next few hours, still a lot of thicker cloud overhead, some spits of rain and drizzle around this evening, and then overnight as the cold front comes through, some fragmented rain and showers that push southeastwards, so skies clearing behind it, temperatures hold up, winds start to increase as we head through to tomorrow morning. It's a bit colder up to the north there. You can see a tiny hint of a spot of frost under those clearer skies out in the countryside. Then we're into Saturday, sun's up 8:22, sets about 10 to 4 in the afternoon, and we're expecting a little bit of a clearance of that system. You can see the last of the cloud and the showers pulling away, and then behind it some good spells of brightness and sunshine, but still a few showers continue, although a bit drier into the afternoon. Breezier, especially in the west across the Isle of Man, average temperatures, and then as that warm front comes through, it's going to introduce some milder temperatures for Sunday, but a bit of drizzle as well. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thanks very much, Emma, and another great tie. Did you see
I know.
that?
I wonder if you're wearing it for tonight's Christmas party.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're all off out in a bit, so wish us luck with that.
Andy's got his sequins ready to get
Yes, I have, yeah, and I'm wearing my sparkly shoes, but unfortunately you can't see them under here. Very excited about Bullseye coming back, by the way, talking about the darts on ITV1 soon. Right, OK, that is it for tonight's Granada Reports. Lucille will be here with our late update. That's after the news at 10.
And don't forget, there's all the information you need about becoming a stem cell donor on our website, itv.com/Granada. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.